Moldova has just answered its central question, the West or Russia, with unusual clarity. President Maya Sandu's Party of Action and Solidarity, PAS, just won over 50% of the popular vote and is set for roughly 55 of 101 seats. That is a single-party majority, not a negotiated compromise. Turnout was about 52% higher than recent cycles. This is the second straight national win for Sandu's project of clean government, energy independence and EU accession. The PAS vote share, about 50 to 52%, with 99.5% plus counted. The pro-Russian patriotic bloc, roughly 24%, seat projection near 55, that's enough to govern without minor partners, and the result is a workable majority to push reforms linked to EU accession by 2030. The margin, the pre-election polling had suggested PAS would likely top the table but might lose its majority. Instead, PAS has outperformed and consolidated, and that immediately strengthens Moldova's hand with Brussels on finance, on rule of law, benchmarks and energy security, and the European Commission has already put real money and political capital on the table, including a multi-year package near 1.9 billion euros in grants and cheap loans. Second, the interference backdrop against which this election has taken place. Moldovan institutions say this vote was targeted by disinformation, illicit funding, cyber attacks, bomb hoaxes across several countries, and the OSCE's preliminary verdict is crisp. Competitive elections offering a genuine choice, yet marred by serious cases of foreign interference and widespread disinformation, and that twin conclusion matters: real competition, real contamination. And Moldova managed to withstand that. And the third issue is the opposition response. Igor Dodon claimed victory before results existed, then disputed the outcome and called protesters to the streets. The reality on the ground does not match the rhetoric. Early attempts to conjure momentum didn't materialize. Moscow, for its part, complained that too few polling stations were opened in Russia for Moldovan citizens. Even if true as a logistical point, it doesn't alter the national arithmetic. Europe's leaders reacted as if a stress test had been passed. Ursula von der Leyen congratulated Moldovans for choosing Europe, democracy and freedom. President Zelensky cast the result as evidence that Russian destabilization can be contained. The political signal is that hybrid attacks are now treated as a background condition, not an exceptional crisis, and that resilience is learned. The hard work now begins. A majority in Moldova is a means, not an end. 4 files will decide whether this victory becomes durable change. First is the rule of law and the anti-corruption efforts. EU accession demands legislative grind and administrative stamina. PAS has political space to pass judicial and procurement reforms without trading away content to coalition partners. The bar is high, and momentum must be visible from the year end to keep confidence in Brussels. Secondly, the issue of energy and inflation. Sandu's government has moved to cut dependence on Russian gas and to diversify supplies. That was strategically wise and politically costly. If utility bills and food prices do not feel less punishing this winter, today's mandate will erode quickly. EU financing softens the landing but cannot replace domestic delivery. The Transnistria issue, 1,500 Russian troops remain in the breakaway strip along the Ukrainian border. Nobody sensible promises a fast fix. What can be done is incremental: to cut smuggling incentives, to keep channels open to communities, and to internationalize monitoring while avoiding theatrics. The election result doesn't dissolve the stalemate, but it gives Moldova a stronger diplomatic platform. The OSCE's preliminary findings undermine a world in which falsehood is cheap and panic is the point. Moldova's response on election day, cameras from polling stations, rapid comms, legal moves against illicit financing, offers a playbook worth refining and repeating. Expect a permanent hybrid threat posture rather than episodic crisis management. And the patriotic bloc can correctly say that PAS didn't win every region, and that if you add up all the non-PAS votes, you get a larger share. That is politics, not a governing programme. The strategic problem for the pro-Russian camp is that repeated maximalist narratives, the rigged election, the stolen vote, the foreign rule, didn't mobilise a critical mass this time. Unless they modernise their social and economic offer beyond grievance, they will remain loud, yet unvoted and outvoted. And as for Brussels, 3 immediate steps would convert warm words into traction to ensure that there are visible benefits, visible investment in roads, clinics, connectivity that people can touch within months, not years, to deploy experts to help on customs, procurement and judicial case management so reforms bite fast, and to keep accession language firm but honest. Over-promising timetables breeds cynicism, and cynicism feeds interference. Over the next 100 days, you will see the cabinet formation, the speed of the first legislative packages in courts, the effect on prosecutors and party finance. A winter energy plan that maintains supply and stabilises bills without backsliding to dependency on Russia would be tremendous. And how Moldova handles any renewed agitation around Transnistria with calm policing, patient dialogue and zero theatrics. The OSCE and domestic follow-ups on specific interference cases, naming methods, prosecuting crimes, publishing lessons learnt, again will be something to watch out for. Elections don't solve Moldova's constraints. Poverty, immigration, bad neighbourhood problems. What they do is to raise the cost of interference and lower the cost of reform by providing legitimacy and time. PAS has earned both. If it converts that mandate into cleaner courts, steadier energy, credible accession milestones, the centre of gravity will move westward. If it squanders that window, today's map will look temporary. For now, a small state has supplied a large reminder that hybrid attacks can be endured, the voters can resist the spray of falsehood, and institutions, however fragile, can learn. That is Moldova's gift to Europe this week.